Hey everybody, Omar here. I am back with part 2 of the Lexk liner lock knife. We're going to go ahead and compare it to the frame lock version of the knife. Find out what differences there would be in case you guys are looking to get one of the two versions of this knife, which, either version, the frame lock or the liner lock version. So let's go ahead and get into it. So here is my Lexk frame lock knife, which I've actually done a video on this one already. This one has a full slab of carbon fiber on it. It's got less eye candy on it, which I think is the main reason why I got the liner lock version, because I really wanted a nice fancy Lexk. This one really fit the bill. This one is more like a user knife. As you can see, we've got an acid wash blade on that, so I could use this to hell, and you won't be able to tell that it's even scratched, versus, the liner lock version, which is pretty much going to be a safe queen. Sorry. It's going to be a safe queen. I got to say that. It's just too pretty to use, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with just carrying the knife, looking at it, marveling at it, putting it in my pocket every once in a while, and then putting it away in a case and never cutting even paper with it. I'm fine with that. This knife has obviously been bought more for the artwork than the actual use of the knife. Whereas this one, yeah, I'll be using this one. I've already been using it. The acid wash blade makes it look really, like you can't even tell if I used it at all. So, excuse me. So, comparisons, all right? The liner lock knife, obviously, as you guys can see, for those of you that don't know anything about knives, basically, the way the liner lock knife works is it's also a frame lock, in a way, right? It's just that they've got these slabs of coverings over it, and in this case, we've got marble carbon fiber and black Damascus over the knife. In other words, it's underneath the coverings. I'm going to call it covering. It's just I'm trying to make it simple for the non-knife collector layman to understand. So as you can see, here's the liner lock right there, right? But I mean, if you took out the bolster and the handles on both sides, you would have what you have in front of you right here, which is a frame lock knife. So this one is more for like eye candy, but yet it makes it no less. I guess, sturdy than, say, the frame lock. So on a frame lock knife, this is it. This is the knife. There's no, there's no coverings over it. Basically, they cut an entire section of the knife to create the lock, which if you look in a liner lock, they do the same thing, but it's covered, right? It's completely covered, and they don't cut out a section. They just, you know what I mean? It's I don't know how more to explain it, but they basically just cut this section out, and then the liner lock pushes in and goes underneath the blade to lock the blade. So it's the same concept with the frame lock, except you don't get no coverings on here. The knife this is it. You know what I mean? The knife is it. So you can there's like limited eye candy, because this side is sort of the mechanism for opening and closing the knife. Plus you've got the pocket clip in the way, so there's no way they really put any kind of like inlay on this side of the knife. Although Clyde Challenor and Chris Reeve do accomplish that. So there's Chris Reeve. He does accomplish it on his frame lock by putting it on the back side of the knife. So does Clyde Challenor. So bravo to those guys, because we do think that that's an amazing thing that they do there. But on the on the frame lock knife, it's more of it's more of a stronger construction, if I can say that. It just seems like it's more of a stronger construction. You've got a relief cut here put on the knife. This one's also a front flipper. So the only eye candy you have on the frame lock is just the pocket clip. So it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. But they also give you pivot rings also on the knife. So this is still considered an art piece as well. But you could still pretty much use this more. You get more use out of this because of the acid wash blade. The blade shapes obviously are completely different. This one is more of a Warncliffe style blade. Not really good for drawing cuts because it's a straight across. But you can certainly pierce with this. It's got some nice piercing on it. We've got a lot of sort of hard, straight edges and swedges. And, because the knife goes, sort of a full thick piece of titanium here. And then they kind of thin it out with this swedge here. And then it goes down to a point. Interesting shape. And obviously more for like pushing down kind of cutting. So you can tell this is a real workman's knife, even though it's a work of art as well. Same smoothness on the framelock version of the Lexk, as well as the liner lock. I didn't notice a difference in that. That's exactly the same. The front flippers operate exactly the same, and they feel exactly the same. The only difference is, this is a frame lock, obviously. You've got a back spacer that only comes up just from here to here. So that, I can live with it, but I prefer this, where it covers the entire back. The whole symmetrical thing is what I kind of enjoy. I need that on my knife. It just looks better. That's all. It just looks better. And it's my preference. But as far as the ergos go, they're exactly the same. I didn't really notice a difference between, the ergonomics on it rather than the, just because this is a liner lock, you would think it would have a different feel. This one does, however, it doesn't fill my hand as well as the liner lock version, because the liner lock version seems to have sort of like a roundedness to it. So when I put my hand over it, I feel the full fill of my hand in there. Whereas this one, my hand seems to conform around the knife where my hand bends. You know what I mean? I'm kind of relying on that more on a frame lock version versus the liner lock version, where I just hold it. I don't even think. It's just, it just feels good. It just feels good. So, in that case, I think that the ergonomics actually feel better on this knife than it does on this one. But that's because this has like a lot of angular, there's a lot of angles on this knife. It's still round, but, you've got this sort of, I don't know, I guess you would call it a swedge, where, there's like an angle in there, squared off, where the titanium, this angle here meets that one. It's kind of squared off, so your hand has to kind of feel where it's going to hold it. And it feels good, because without those lines, I don't think the knife would feel as good in your hand when you're using it. This one, you don't even think about it. It doesn't make a difference. It just feels great, because the whole thing is round like your hand. So, another thing too with the construction of a frame lock is kind of just how strong the lock is on this one. You don't feel like, on a frame lock, you don't feel like the knife's going to close on you because the titanium is so thick. Versus a liner lock, where all you've got are the bolts, the Damascus bolster and the marble carbon fiber, or whatever they put over the actual knife, or whatever artwork they put over the actual knife to protect you from having the knife close on you. Because take a look at how thin the liner lock is on that. Now, it's still not going to close on you, but like in your mind, you're thinking, it could close up on me. Versus a frame lock, where they cut the section of the knife out so that when you are holding it, it's impossible for the knife to close, because you're now putting direct pressure on the knife, pushing the frame lock in to the knife even more, giving it sort of like a direct force vector, so that it almost guarantees that it's not going to close up on you. versus on this one, you know, even though it's thick, I think this is more as in a case of the liner lock is thick enough that it's not going to do that. And you have to have confidence in the person who made the knife to really believe, you know, to really understand that's just not going to happen. Trust the knife maker when they make the knife and tell you that it's not going to do that at all. So another thing about Trevor Berger is he's one of the few knife makers that does not put his name anywhere on the knife. Some knife makers, you know, they have it on the blade. They got it smack dab right on the handle. One of the fun things about owning a Trevor Berger knife is you get to find out where he put his initials on the knife. And if I hold this up, you probably won't be able to see anywhere on the knife where he put his name or his initials or anything. I'll show you where it is in a second. And if you look on the knife, you'll see, I just lost where it is on here. There it is. There we go. If you look inside the knife, you'll see Trevor Berger's initials. There they are. TBC. Trevor Berger Knives. It's just kind of a fun thing that I think that he does. I don't know, because he puts it on the knife in different places on different knives every time, and it's kind of like a fun thing to do where it's like a little hunt. Where's his initials? I don't see them. You kind of want to, you know, dig out for them. And on this one, again, same thing. You don't see his name anywhere on the knife. However, if you look inside the liner lock, all the way into the black Damascus, the bottom of the black Damascus, you can see his initials. They're right there shining. TBC. That was one of the first things I did when I got the knife. I wanted to find out where he put his initials on there. Because he's put them in some funky places on the knife. Aesthetically, both these knives are very, very pleasing. Obviously, the difference between the two is this one's a much more classier. Wear it with a suit. Out on the night in the town, maybe you're going out to dinner with your girlfriend. This is the knife you carry in your pocket for fun, versus this one, which is more like jeans. Going to work, you know, kind of a knife. You know, you need one. You know, you're not going to be afraid to use it. You're not even going to think about it. You're just going to, you know, use the knife. It was built for that. Whereas this is sort of like a dress piece, obviously, with the Damascus and the marble carbon fiber. Just very, very overall stunning knife. I forgot to mention, yeah, the knife is false shut, as you guys can see. On both of these, they're false shut. Once you go custom, your expectation of smoothness on a knife is a completely different deal than if you were looking at, say, a production knife, where the smoothness is smooth, but it's not as smooth as you would like. I mean, obviously on this knife, it just falls shut with very little force. So, I mean, on this one, you actually have to kind of just, you know, it's still smooth, but you don't get that kind of, see what I mean? There's like these stops on the knife, but that's just the world of custom. On my zero tolerance, similar, it just kind of falls shut a little bit like that. And that's because I put ceramic bearings in the knife. I wanted to doctor it up somehow. So I put ceramic bearings on my 00562. So 2 different flavors here, whichever one you like. Go for. If you're someone who's more into using your knife, I definitely go for the frame lock. And I say this on behalf of all the versions of his frame lock knives, because almost all of them are kind of like this, where they're very, very rustic looking, very, very strong looking, you know, just screams, use me kind of knife. All of his frame locks look like that. There are no frame locks I've seen that have anywhere near the eye candy of the liner lock versions. And this one, by the way, is a one of a kind, completely made by hand. This is not a one of a kind, but this is still made by hand. Because he's made several ones of this with the same exact carbon fiber on it. I don't know. I'm gonna guess maybe he's made 15 of these knives. that look exactly the same. But even still, to own a knife where there's only 15 of them left in the whole world that you're ever going to see, that's enough. That's more than enough for any knife collector's heart to want. Trevor Berger is a knife maker who really goes the distance on the knife. There are a few things about Trevor Berger that annoy a lot of knife collectors. Number one, he does not do made-to-order knives. He doesn't do that. In other words, you can't just text him and go, hey, can you make me a knife? He doesn't do that anymore. What Trevor Berger does is he will put out, say, 25 of these. Okay, 25 Lexks, framelock versions, just like this. Okay, excuse me, in the framelock version. He'll put out 25 of them. Probably 5 of them will have black marble carbon fiber. Another 5 of them will have, say, black Damascus on it. Another 5 of them might have micarta. And then let's say the last 5 that he makes would be 5 one-of-a-kind knives that look completely different than each other. That's what Trevor Berger does. Then he'll put them out. He'll put them out on Blade Gallery. He'll put them out on Instagram. He'll put them out Arizona Custom Knives, wherever. And when they're gone, they're gone. And then when he gets word from, I guess, Arizona Custom Knives or Blade Gallery or whoever, saying, hey, you're running low on knives, and he'll go and produce some more. It's sort of a way for Trevor Berger to control his time when he makes a knife. So you're still going to get a one-of-a-kind handmade piece. It's just not going to be made for you. And he will also have a variety of other knives that he makes in the Lexk version. I'm using Lexk as an example. He'll do it, where the same thing with the liner lock. He'll do like 10 of them. Maybe 5 of them will have the same configuration, and the last 5 will be all one-of-a-kinds. And if you're lucky, you'll be one of the guys that actually gets to have a one-of-a-kind. Again, it's just not made for you. So you kind of lose that specialness of the knife because it wasn't made for you and you didn't order. That's the thing, is that you don't get to work with the knife maker to order the, what's going to be on your knife, whether it's going to be black marble carbon fiber, whether it's going to be, Damascus or black Damascus or micarta or white Westinghouse. He's just going to put that on the knife, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, then someone else will buy it. And that's just the way Trevor Berger works. I think he may have been maybe overwhelmed by making knives by hand because, maybe he's come up against some customers that kept changing their mind or didn't know what they wanted or whatever. So I think he just feels a lot better off working sort of freely, where you will get to still have a one-of-a-kind, but yet he gets to work in his own time. So that's how Trevor Berger works. Those are his rules, and if you accept his rules, then you can enjoy his knife. If not, you go for another knife maker, I guess. But I don't have a problem with it. You just have to kind of hunt and look around and see where you're going to find a one-of-a-kind from Trevor Berger, because he will not be incommunicado for that. So, this is the look of the video on Trevor Berger's Lexk model. I just wanted to compare these two and kind of explain what you'll be getting if you decide on one of these. I'm an insane knife collector, so I have to have both versions of the knife. I can't help it. It's disgusting, I know, but what can you do? This is Omar, the Knife of the Party guy, signing off, hoping you'll find one of these two Lexks, either the frame lock or the liner lock, in your collection someday, and hopefully you'll comment on this video and tell me what's going on, what you guys think about this knife, what you guys think about Trevor Berger's work, and, are you annoyed by the fact that he doesn't make knives, made to order? That's another discussion I probably would like to do, but, whatever, you know, a knife maker is an artist. They have the right to work the way they want to work, and they have the right to put out what they want to put out. So this is Omar, the Knife the Party guy, signing off, hoping you'll find one of these two Lexks in your future someday. I've got another knife coming in about a week. I think it's going to be about a week. I'll have to check up on that. But yeah, it's coming really soon. And that knife, I'll tell you, is going to be one you have never, ever seen before. Because the shape of the knife is super funky. That's right. It's super funky. So, again, Omar, Knife of the Party guy, signing off. You guys have a wonderful Saturday evening. And enjoy knife hunting. Thanks so much, and have a great evening.